White flag, 3 laps of the fence behind me, and 1 gap I shouldn't have left in front of me. I went right, he went through, and just like that, it was over. That's where the story ends, but it's not where it starts. Nürburgring, 3-hour GT3 Endurance. I signed up on the last second, with 30 minutes to learn a setup and half a memory of a track I didn't drive properly in months. That was the preparation. Not ideal, but the race was happening either way. Qualifying told me exactly what I was in for. I was 2 minutes late to the session. The tires were cold, and there was no time for a proper warm-up. The first lap was poorer. I pushed everything I had into the second, thinking there might just be enough time to set a representative lap. There wasn't. The session ended 5 seconds before I crossed the line. P42. With 3 hours of racing still ahead. Turn 1 from the back of the grid is exactly as chaotic as it sounds. I kept it clean. I stayed out of trouble. And somewhere in those early laps, Butthurst caught up with me. 12 hours on the mountain, 1 week earlier. My shoulders were already going, not from today's race, but from the previous one. And there was nothing to do but to put my head down and ignore it. The race doesn't care what you carried into it. Eventually, the pace came back, the way it always does when you've been out of the car for a week. Reactions sharpening, confidence returning. The track starting to make sense again. The field began to open up. First pit stop, clean strategy, 5 positions gained, P30. Second stop, same call, 5 more, P25. Then Nico told me, top 20 is possible. No tactics, no telemetry, just someone watching from the outside who believed in the lap I was already on. That's what the team does, even when only one of you is driving. So I pushed harder. The tires were still in it. The pace was real, and one by one the positions came. P22, 10 minutes left on the clock. And then I made a mistake that would take the rest of the race to pay for. I had been pushing too hard in the middle stint, chasing P20 when P20 was really never on the table. 10 seconds up the road, a gap that wasn't closing no matter how hard I pushed. By the time I accepted that, the tires were already gone, and P23 was in my mirror, gaining a second a lap, either on fresh tires or a driver who'd managed his better than I had. Probably both. What followed was 3 laps of the most intense racing I've done in a long time. He was on my bumper through every corner, probing every braking zone, every exit, looking for the one gap I would leave him, but I didn't. Lap after lap, I covered everything, and with the white flag out, I thought I'd held on. I went right on the start-finish straight, wall on my side, draft on his. I left just enough space, maybe a car's width, maybe less, but it was enough. He got the draft, a clean exit, and the inside of turn 1. And by the time we reached the apex, he was passed, and there was a whole lap left with nothing in the tires to answer with. P23. I was angry, not at him, but at the space I'd left. He did everything right. I gave him the one thing he needed. Looking back at it now, those 3 laps were worth something, even if the result wasn't. 2 drivers, racing hard for position, deep in a field that nobody outside the car would ever look at twice. It was P23. It doesn't move the standings, it doesn't mean anything on paper, and nobody watching the results would stop on that number. But I'd spent 3 hours earning it. Every clean lap, every pit stop, every position gain, one at a time from the back of the grid. And I gave it away in the last corner, on the last lap, with the one gap I should never have left. That's what endurance does. Every position becomes the only position that matters. Never leave a gap. That's the race within the race.